It doesn't need much drive to accept the Pirelli calendar, because I guess everybody in the world wants to do this one. No? So that was not very complicated for Pirelli to get a yes from me to do the calendar. But the route has been changed for this year of the calendar so that I can do a third one. And that I appreciate a lot. And that also was a very great motivation to do more than just nice pictures. And I said, why don't we try to do a calendar with women who have something to say? And I approached them saying, you know, I want to do something which is like a cry against the terror of perfection and use. We don't do naked anymore. So what is another kind of naked much more important than naked body parts? No? I think it's when you really show yourself the way you are. No? Beautiful color, beautiful. There is no beauty without truth, no? All this fake making up of a person into something which is not the person, that cannot be beautiful. That's just ridiculous, no? Talent is sexy, no? You can talk to someone, that is sexy. That was the idea behind this calendar. Just show what we think, what is beautiful and what is simple and what is decent and all this kind of stuff. And I think that worked very, very, very well. No? I was with Marco, with his marketing, the CEO from the table. No? And the last people left on the party were like 2,000 people. How many? The last people were
I think maybe because I'm an actress, I don't see myself as a model, and suddenly still cameras sometimes can be a bit frightening to be put in front of, because it's just one frame, a picture you're going to get, instead of me actually feeling relaxed in either being a character or being allowed to be myself. Sometimes you can get a beautiful photo and everything's composed in the right way and it's the right angle, but with him, what I like is that it feels extremely raw and emotional. And that's when I want to know what's in that person's head. And it's almost like I myself get a bit surprised of trying to figure out, oh, what did I try, where was my head at just at that second, because I can't really remember. The really good directors don't talk very much. Same thing with photographers. It's not so much explanation going on. It's the kind of leading up to giving someone the feel free enough to explore and try and find something. With the history of the Pirelli calendar, it's an amazing thing to kind of be part of that. But for me, and the same thing choosing films, is I've just realized that it's more and more, it's down to the people involved. the people that you're going to work with, the people that truly inspire you and that you look up to and that you want to be in a creative process with. So for me to give him the chance to have the experience to work with Peter was a big part. And Peter really has the ability, I can see in the photos, that he's so relaxed, and he also makes me so at ease and comfortable, and I really feel like all nerves kind of go away, and he has so much heart and so much energy and so much fun. So it's a bit of magic.
Мы увиделись, Питер предложил сделать что-то особенное, поработать вместе. Такой шанс нельзя было упустить. Обстановка была очень хорошая, комфортная. Мне очень понравилось работать с Питером. Питер настоящий профессионал. Комфортно было с ним работать. И условия были домашние. Обстановка была очень... Давайте заново. Красота сегодня — это уверенность в себе, это внутреннее состояние каждого, и это понимание и знание цели и способы ее достижения. Безусловно, красота связана с внутренним миром человека. Для меня это, безусловно, внутреннее качество человека. То, как он себя ощущает, то, какой он, и, конечно, доброта. Без доброты красоту трудно представить без доброты. Для меня большая честь то, что я попала в один ряд с такими знаменитостями. Об этом можно только мечтать. Я слежу за их профессиональной деятельностью. Это очень уважаемые женщины, которые достойны уважения во всем мире. И для меня это действительно большая честь поработать с ними.
This is on me. But I can handle it now.
I think my main motivation was Peter Lindbergh, because he's an extraordinary photographer. And then Pirelli with Peter sounded like a very tempting concept, to use women of different ages, not necessarily without their clothes on, to another way of seeing how women want to be perceived. He's generous and kind, which are two qualities that are, when they're put together with a creative talent, are extremely seductive in all ways, because they make you want to really work.
Beautiful, Charlotte, beautiful.
Peter inspires you to work with him, to get something going together, to get something that will be special, to make something happen together. And he makes you feel, when you're working with him, completely unique, as if you're the one that he, wants to inspire at that moment. And that, for us in our profession, is really very comforting and very inspiring. I think what happens in our business is that we start out when we're very young being hopefully true to ourselves, and that's where our talent starts to grow, and then the profession can start to put so many limits on that and so many difficulties on that you're not actually really being perhaps the true person that you are, and you're hiding it and hiding it more and hiding it more to protect yourself. And with someone like Peter, that's what he wants to get to. He wants to get to that vulnerable part of yourself that perhaps you only show to your very intimate loved ones. I know what he wants to get, and I know what I want to get with him, because I want him to show that. I want to reveal myself through Peter Lindbergh's eyes to other people in that way.
Yeah, I just pulled it right in there. Just out-focused everything. Just out-focused everything. Shit.
The very fact that the Pirelli calendar always was edgy and forward-thinking has made it become this extraordinary thing that it's becoming today, which is looking at women and the presence of women in the world, not simply to do with literal beauty, but more to do with their power in the world, their presence, their personality, their influence. So I think that's just such an exciting concept, so wonderful, and I was incredibly honoured to be invited. I said yes like that. I think it was always a calendar that women enjoyed. It was very much geared towards the artistic side, it seemed to me, of photography, and I think that this Pirelli calendar is another huge step forward. I've worked with Peter before, so I know what he wants from you. He wants a connection with the camera. Well, when I walked in today, he said, "This, you know, you have to be nude in this shot." I went, "Do I? Oh, really?" And I didn't say, "Oh no." I thought, "Oh no." I was thinking, "Oh no." He said, "No." He said, "Truly nude. You have to be nude, naked, not hidden, in the terms of how you relate to the camera." which of course is what we all are trying to do in our different ways in front of the camera, in film, is to be as emotionally naked as possible. But when you don't have a character to sort of hang it upon, it is challenging. And I really thought about it this morning coming to work, about who I am at this point in time. And how can I then show that in as honest and straightforward a way to the camera as possible. Okay.
Give us a moment to stop up here.
Yes. I feel that it's as incumbent upon me to make the image work as it is incumbent upon the photographer to get it in focus.
I was really excited when I heard that Peter Lindbergh would be the photographer, and I was really excited to have the opportunity to shoot with him again. And also the calendar is amazing. Every time I go to Europe, everyone's always freaking out about the calendar, and they're so beautiful, the artwork that they do.
Nice, 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 beautiful. Jessica, beautiful, beautiful.
We had a really quick shoot. We shot for about 45 minutes, so it was a lot of energy, and it was just kind of like trying everything we could. And you get so excited by light and by shapes of shadows on walls, and it's contagious when you're shooting that.
Nice, 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 great. Beautiful.
I started as a theater actor, and I'd always been afraid of cameras and not quite sure how that would change performances to have a camera there. And one of my greatest acting teachers is Al Pacino, and Al said to me, the camera, it has a direct connection to your soul. Unlike any other person, it can see deeper inside of what you're feeling and your desires and your fears and your loves and hates and all of this grand canyon of emotions that you have. The camera has a direct link to it. And as soon as he put it into words like that, I was never afraid of the camera. Because to me, the camera then, it's the way you can express yourself unlike any other medium. More than the actor in the scene with you, the camera actually really can tell what you're feeling, and you can't lie to it. You can try to cover it up, but the camera sees that you're trying to cover something up. And I love that. I love something knowing you intimately, and so I would never want to hide away from that. It's my job as an actor to be as open as possible as I can be. I think a woman's value is by far what she thinks and who she is than her body. So it's incredible to be in this group of women that are all being celebrated for who they are. I'm very proud to be included in this group of women, very, very much so. Of course, you can't help but be excited when looking at the other names involved. I love the idea of in 20 years going back and looking at it and seeing this one moment in time stopped.
It's always such a beautiful project, you know, and they've always asked such wonderful women to be involved that I was very flattered to be asked to do it again. And then Peter, I adore him, and he makes every experience so lovely and loving and makes you feel so special that I couldn't say no. I think Peter so appreciates an individual and their own particular beauty and always wants to celebrate that. So I walk in with no makeup on and with wet hair and puffy eyes from waking up, and he's like, no, you're just perfect, you're beautiful. So he makes you feel so great. He likes a very raw, authentic kind of beauty. He wants some personality, he wants some attitude, he wants authenticity. I don't think he ever feels that anyone is not beautiful. It is a calendar not about simply beauty, but content as well, about who you are, how you can authentically represent yourself in a photograph. How does the photographer see you? How are you represented to the world? It's more modern, more authentic. And I think that's something that Peter Lindbergh has always been famous for too. You know, although he does celebrate beauty in his work, he also very, very much celebrates soulfulness and content and authenticity. I have been fortunate enough to have worked with Peter many times, and the wonderful thing about Peter, and I've always felt this, is that he's truly interested in capturing women, who they really are, seeing their age, seeing the lines, the veins on the backs of their hands, you know, their little crow's feet, absolutely everything, and seeing a woman also far away thinking about something else entirely, but very much by herself and strong. And that's how I feel Peter has always photographed me. He says, you know, I want you to be yourself and be real and be free and be strong. And there's something tremendously liberating about just being told that. Just being told that you don't have to pose, don't worry about your arms, don't think about which way you look. It's a wonderful thing to hear that from a photographer as extraordinary as he is. Peter is known for not retouching, and I think that's why so many actresses love being photographed by him, because for most of us, and certainly for myself, I don't want people to change how I look. I very much enjoy looking at myself now, aged 40. And actually today I asked Peter specifically to photograph the backs of my hands, because age 40, I can see how different they are from when I was 30 and when I was 20, and I love looking at that. If you look at the range in age of the women featured in this calendar, it's just fantastic. It's just fantastic. And you won't see anyone altered digitally. We will all absolutely be the age that we are, and that's very much the intention. People are constantly trying to make us look, you know, a softer version of 40 or a slightly more youthful, fresher version of 50, but, well, isn't it okay to just be 40 or 50 or 60? There's something very beautiful about bringing us all together in this way and photographing everybody in a very natural, simple form, just completely stripped back and very much ourselves.
it's iconic, and I felt very honored because it's such a famous, calendar, and also to be among those amazing actresses, it's great. Now I think that the calendar is made for women and not for men anymore. And also I feel that I'm from my generation. For me, I feel very strong as a woman. So I think it's nice to see strong women and not just sexual objects. I love his pictures. I mean, he's a master. And it was great to work with him. He's very sure of himself, he's and very simple. We see that he loves women as well, and he wants to touch the heart. There's something very authentic. It's nice to show your emotion, just who you are, and to not fake anything. It's very simple and it's very moving. It's all about the simplicity and depth. And also it's beautiful to see the skin, the details, the circles around the eyes. It's what I found beautiful, me. And we want to see something genuine.
I heard that Peter Lindbergh was doing this calendar, and he was very keen to work with me too. And I love Peter Lindbergh. I've worked with him once before, and I thoroughly enjoyed being his subject. I mean, he brings out what I think is the best in me as a subject. He's passionate, he's friendly, he's exuberant about his work, and I just loved working with him. And the fact that he was doing the Pirelli calendar, which is an iconic calendar, the two together, I thought it was a really good match. I think I know how to be me more than I know how to be anything else. So being a subject, especially with Peter, is that he brings out the best in you. When I'm playing a role, it's a lot of work to get to a point where I'm portraying another character. So this is kind of doing the work in reverse.
makes saves and everything. I don't do. You don't see the skin for it, but he does. You can feel the skin. No problem.
I think Peter's just very instinctual. He kind of feels things out, and he really wanted me to be very natural. I think that so much of trying to capture an image is intuition, and I think that's what he has a strong idea of what he wants. And even when we were going to go and do another shot, he just went, "No, I've got it," which I love. I love that confidence. It's lovely that it's a celebration of actresses, because the voice of actresses, I think, is getting stronger and stronger now, just in terms of the desire to have stories and have places in which we can work and we can age and we can still keep telling the stories of women. I don't mind nudity, but I'm always, I don't conform. But I don't mind nudity because I think when it's artistic and it's beautiful, when it's exploitive, of course, I don't, that's not interesting. But the form, male or female, is beautiful, whether it's clothed or naked.
Has he talked about anything of the theme?
I have European sensibility. I think I know him so well, so there's an enormous amount of trust involved and friendship there, and that's very, very powerful. And I would have felt incredibly shy if it was somebody else. Once you're responding to a lens, and once you forget that the lens is there, I think that's when you know that you're connected.
It's okay in the back, it's okay in the back. This too.
He's somebody really special and kind, and he's always himself, it's nothing fake about him. And also that's what he wants in his pictures. That's what he captures. He's so good at capturing the truth, the essence of a person, the essence of whatever is going on in that moment. He's very sweet, very respectful to all the departments. If he's talking to you, he's just talking to you. And he has this internal rhythm that is very relaxing. He never seems stressed out. To me, he's a very, very talented, but also a very wise man.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
He really knows how to lead a woman. But you can see the skin, you can see the eyes, you can see the person, you can almost see a little bit of the soul of that person. And there are many great photographers, but he's
really one of the greatest in the terms, of really showing you a little bit more of who that person is. It's sometimes very ambiguous because is it you? Is it a character that you are making up in that moment with this photographer? That's why sometimes we are more shy in a photo shoot where it's just us and we don't have this other being, this character protecting us, covering us. When we are playing a character, we have more freedom, more permission not to be looking at ourselves, more permission to leave your ego at home. So, yeah, it's normal to sometimes get shy in situations like that. And that maybe would never happen on a set when you are playing somebody else.
I'm going to show you legs. This is the time.
Every movie that I make, I feel like it's the first one, like I am new, but it's a great feeling because this always keeps you feeling young inside, feeling like you are a beginner, like a kid that starts again. If one day I go to the set and I feel too safe or too in control, that would really scare me in that. But that wouldn't be the good kind of, not the good fear, the other one. I want to be scared, when I'm working. I want to feel like it's the first time all over again. This feeling is so addictive.
Beautiful, beautiful. Oh.
It's difficult being in front of a camera and you have people watching, and it's difficult to open up and be vulnerable and show that raw side.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That looks like a Berlin expressionist dancer. Beautiful.
Peter Lindbergh, to me, is one of the greatest photographers to capture women. And he breaks through the veil so delicately, where you don't even realize that you are exposing yourself. He just eliminates any of that guardedness.
Oh, I forgot the fish. Going right underneath. Yeah, so we don't get the...
I don't like being looked at in general anyway. Never have. I don't like being on stage presenting an award. Give me a character to play where you inhabit someone and you're embodying something else. But to be me and expose that and share with strangers, it's the most uncomfortable thing in the world. So to work with him is disarming. And that's what's so great about doing this project with renowned photographers who know how to capture women. And the history of Pirelli, you've got, decades of how women have evolved. That's such a beautiful unfolding to watch from the eyes of each visionary, each of those photographers, showing you, the public, how many different sides to women there are. It's right there at the front of the press about the power of women and why we are powerful. You feel that you're, in a nice conglomerate of good, solid, forward-moving, forward-thinking females.
Beautiful.
And we're actually clothed this year, which is good. That's good.
Beautiful.
I've shot with Peter a few times and I just love him so much. I love working with him, and he doesn't try and get something out of you that isn't already there. I'm very comfortable with moving pictures with film, but I don't really like having my picture taken. When you are doing a photo shoot, it is you. You're not really playing a character. They're trying to capture you, and I find that much more challenging. And one of the things I love about Peter is he doesn't try and make you do things that make you feel uncomfortable, or he really just tries to capture you, and he makes you feel so comfortable, and he just sort of lets you do what you want to do. It doesn't ever feel artificial. It just feels very organic and safe with him. One of the things I love about Peter is that he really doesn't do a lot of retouching. He loves sort of the lines in women's faces and the freckles and the flaws and all the things that really make you you and make you special. And I think that's really what Peter's is so good at, is really capturing the human there. Much less about capturing the ideal of what people want a woman to look like or be like. And he really kind of captures your soul.
Peter Lindbergh and I have known each other for as long as I've been working, so over 20 years. And I've also always heard about the calendar, about like super beautiful, super sexy, images, I think, right? Isn't that what it was? Which is a great thing, and there's a place for that. But I think the turn that they're taking, I think that's really a great opportunity to let people, and women specifically, be reinterpreted in a very kind of interesting way, and allowing the photographers to express themselves artistically and socially. I never smile normally when I'm being photographed by a still camera. Like I normally find them sort of like make you kind of tense. But with Peter, he's just such a big soul, and he's not looking for perfection or some artificial idea of how to make things look good. He's actually looking for the human being, and so it's kind of remarkably less stressful than being photographed with an actor, doing a sort of endorsement image. It's almost like an interview, but with a camera. People might have an idea about you that's sort of very hard to hold up. Want you to be more or different or something, or more sexy or more interesting than you are. But with Peter, there's no preconception. There's a lot of history and a lot of respect, and I think he has a tremendous amount of respect for everyone around him, and that really creates the atmosphere.
think for this photo shoot, he wants me to be myself. I just be myself. That's the easiest role to play. I haven't done anything with him, but I knew his work, and I'm dying to work with him. Yeah, and my dream becomes true. He's very easygoing, and he didn't give me any pressure, so I just feel the freedom. He's the master, and I think he has such great personality and so friendly, and you want to do more with him, and you don't feel tired. You want to continue forever.